Hi Anne, let's go ahead and get started with our practice. We're going to start warming up and moving our hands. You can do this seated or standing. We're just going to start by bringing the palms together and then from there rolling them. So bringing the backs of the hands together and then back the palms together and just letting that flow several times. You can play with the pressure, so kind of pressing in more strongly to the hands or just something lighter. But after a little bit, just switch the way you're circling, go the other way. Start to feel your arrival here in your movement practice. And then we'll come back through and then just interlace the hands, right? And just kind of squeeze. Find your grip as you squeeze in, just kind of feel the strength of the hands. And then soften that. And then just do it another time. Squeeze in, feel the strength of your hands. Maybe you notice it travel into the arms, into the shoulders. And then just soften. Okay, from here, with your hands in a little fist, you're going to draw a figure 8. So think of drawing that with your knuckles, but just kind of tracing. Figure 8, if you can kind of see that in your mind's eye. And then same thing here is, can you kind of reverse it? A lot of times it totally falls apart when you kind of go the other way. So that's just a nice little movement puzzle you can work with until eventually you get that figure 8 going the other direction. Let's just send the arms out, flex the palms, send that up overhead, and then just get that nice full stretch through the arms. And then just releasing the arms to your sides. From your hands, let's move into the arms a bit. So we'll do some arm swinging. Take your feet wide just so of course now you're standing, but have the feet wide enough just that you feel steady and stable on your feet. And then one arm forward, one arm back, and then we're just going to swing. Remember, this movement kind of comes from your torso or your hips, right, where you're turning. The arms are just coming along for the ride. So it's not really that the arms are moving, just moving with momentum. Let's slow that down. We'll bring it back in, and then we'll swing our arms side to side and kind of give our spine a nice gentle twist. So again, just kind of winding up, kind of whirly bird style, and then just swinging the arms side to side. Take a breath. And then from there, start to kind of shift your weight through the feet. Right? So I'm pivoting a little bit. I'm bearing more weight on one foot and then the other. And then I'm going to slow that down. All right. From there, let's make a little shift and we'll work into our feet. So if you're on a yoga mat or not, it's not super important. Just a small little area that we're going to traverse. So just first taking a few steps forward, normal in your feet. Let that bring your awareness inward. And then rocking backwards. So just feel the surface that you're standing on, right? Feel that surface beneath your feet. And then from there, lift up onto the balls of the feet a little bit, just letting the heels leave the ground, and then walking forward with the heels lifted, and then walking backwards with the heels lifted. Okay. And then from there, let's switch. So now I'm going to lift my toes. Maybe you could even lift the balls of the feet and then walking forward that way, right? So on purpose, just kind of exploring some different novel ways to walk. So you could explore this with, again, the heels lifting and then the toes lifting. Let's settle in evenly to the feet. And then here, rolling the feet in and out, right? So I'm purposely kind of transferring my weight towards the pinky toes and then big in towards the big toes. You can kind of watch your feet while you do that. But just feel the stretch that it produces. And then just settle back evenly into the feet. So then let's take a walk on the edges of our feet. Let's start by just rolling the feet out a little bit. And just as much as feels reasonable, take a few steps forward. Maybe it's just 1 or 2, maybe it's 10, but walking back. And then same thing, we'll just kind of roll the feet in a little bit. Maybe the toes, the pinkies lift off a little, but can you walk forward and back? Okay. And so with a lot of this movement, it's just a matter of that question and pondering it is, can I do this? Can I do this to some degree? And just working within that range. Okay, we've got the feet a little bit warm. We've got the hands and the arms a little bit warm. Let's come down to the floor. So we'll come to tabletop. We'll come to our hands and our knees. And then now we're bearing some of our body weight into the hands. So begin to lean your weight right, left, right? So same thing we did in our feet. You're leaning out towards the pinky finger and in towards your thumb. Feel your weight transfer through the arm and the shoulders. And then let's slow that down and just kind of come right back in. Let's tuck the toes under and then rock back, kind of like you're putting your hips towards your heels. Get a stretch there in the feet, maybe the toes. And then rock forward into the hands. Lean forward as much as you can. A few times, forward and back, rocking. And just feel the body being responsive. And then we'll come forward. Let's pause here. Can you come up onto the fingertips? Can you lift the center of your hand off the floor a little bit? And then again, just kind of feel the strength in your hands there. Okay, we'll lower back into our hands. Tuck the toes. Some rocking again. This time, peel the fingers off the ground and then rock forward. So you're just kind of on the heel of the hand when you rock back, right? Fingers are lifting up. And we're just working the wrists. We're working the strength in the hands and the wrists. Okay, let's come back in, untuck the toes, and then can you make fists and kind of come up onto the knuckles a little bit? Let's shrug our shoulders here, so this kind of sinking in and then pushing the floor away. Find that movement. It's real specific between the shoulder blades, drawing together and apart. And then we'll just touch right back down into our hands, and let's cat-cow pose here. So big arch and round of the spine. Moving everything between head and tailbone. And just letting your breathing sync up with this good movement you're in. Let's pause, come back to neutral, and then now let's bend our spine side to side. So take a big look over right shoulder, like you're looking for your feet behind you, and then just big sweep around, look over a left shoulder. So a few times, just gonna kind of swing side to side. Feel one side lengthen, feel the other shorten. And then just pause, let's come back in through center. Okay, from our tabletop, let's tuck our toes under and we'll send the hips high. Take a first downward facing dog. Here's where that comes in nice, where you might pedal the heels and just kind of shift your weight around. And just kind of see where the hands and feet want to be. Actively drive through the arms, so as if to push the floor away. Hands become a little bit more like the feet when we're in a pose like dog. And then from dog pose, can you rock forward to plank pose? Lengthening out, the hips lower a little. And then just a few times, maybe you can rock forward and back from dog pose to plank pose. Another option would be to go from dog pose to tabletop pose. Okay? You get to choose. Okay, from there, let's come back through definitely to tabletop, and then we'll tuck, or actually we'll just kind of cross the feet back there, and let's roll right down into our seat here for a moment. Little bit of hip mobility from a cross-legged seat on the floor. Hands come behind you, lean back, and then switch your feet, and then just kind of rock forward. Okay, this will move each time, other foot in front, so that when we fold, we get a little hip stretch on the back side. Letting this move. As you come forward this time, let's stay. We'll bring the hands to the knees and then just a little bit rocking side to side. With the hands, you're just kind of driving that. Leaning out to the right and the left. Notice how that lands for you. There's a stretch. And then let's come back and we want to switch the feet so other foot gets to be in front. We get to do the same thing. Rock it forward, stay here, and then just kind of drive that side to side. Notice what you notice. And then we'll come up. Let's plant the feet out in front of us, just kind of continuing into the hips. The feet a little bit wide. If you're using a yoga mat, then that's a good destination for them. Hands behind, and then just dipping one knee in, and then coming back and letting the other one drop into the center. Again, just a nice movement to kind of knock the rust off through the hips. And then we'll come back. Let's bring the feet in a little bit. Hands will come behind us. Reverse tabletop, just like that sound. So gazing up, lift the hips and rise. And then just right back down into your seat. Okay, let's come forward, right back through. We'll tuck our toes under and just make your way to standing. So a little opportunity to come from the floor upright to standing. All right, let's work into some standing postures, and let's start with warrior two pose. So just your right leg forward, a nice generous bend in the knee, and then a wide stance. Just kind of reach out through the arms and just take a moment to get there. Give the shoulders a shrug up into the ears and then let them glide down. And then let's flip the palms open and then straighten the legs, reach the arms up overhead, and then exhale, drop back down into warrior. And then do that another time. Reach the arms up. This time, make fists with your hands and then pull down strong, kind of like goalpost arms, and then soften. Let's do that one more time. So again, straighten the legs, reach up, make fists like a lat pull down, right? Just goalpost arms, and then let that soften. Okay, legs stay as is. Little reach back, reverse warrior, little side bend. And then we'll come forward. Find side angle post, just kind of like elbow to thigh. And then see if here left arm could sweep overhead, maybe even more so towards the ear. And just take a breath. Let's rise. We'll bring this back up through center. We'll turn the toes in, so you're just kind of facing long side of a mat here. And then as you reach out through your arms, flex your palms like you are pushing something away, you're pushing walls out. And then pull in, so like elbows could touch behind your back. And then just push back out. So a few times, flow through that. Creating this resistance for your arms to experience. Letting the breath sink up. And then as you reach back out, let's take a nice fold here. Just big, wide-legged forward fold. Bow the head, release the shoulders. The knees can bend, just truly accommodate yourself here. So if the floor is not within reach, then lifting the floor to you with either using some books or like a rolled up towel. And then slowly, let's start to rise here. You can bring the hands on up to the knees and then take a moment to just be upright. Let's switch out. So other side for warrior two pose. Warrior two on your other side. It's my left side. Reach out. Again, just take a moment to get there. Right? Feel steady and anchored in the feet. We'll flip the palms open. Reach everything up. And then on this first one, just kind of dropping back down into warrior. Then a couple times more where we reach up. Make fists. And then pull down strong. Good, reach out. And then just another time, send it up. Make fist, and then just pull down. Okay, reach out through the arms. Reverse warrior, big side bend. Keep that nice bend in the front knee. Let's rise, we'll come forward here. Side angle pose, I'm like elbow to thigh. I'm gonna see about reaching my arm up or maybe overhead. Kind of staying anchored in the back foot. And then let's rise. We'll bring this back up through center. Again, we'll turn the toes in. Reach out through the arms. A couple times if you want to move through that, flexing and pressing out through the arms. Okay, but we'll take a nice fold. When you're ready for it, drop in, using the floor or something to lift it to you. And just notice your breathing here, especially letting your exhale be a little bit more complete, a little bit more accentuated, emptying out the lungs. Slowly, let's rise. Take your time. Come on back up through to standing. And then just, we'll bring the feet in. Okay, working into the legs here a little bit. Let the feet be a little bit apart, not as wide as we just had them. And then hands at your hips. From here, just a half forward fold. So working on your hip hinge here. So just leaning forward, the hips go back, and then just rise. Come on back up through standing. I'll turn to face sideways. Just half forward fold. Think of tabletop like spine. and then rise. So a few times flowing through that. It's kind of a sneaky move. We want to stay connected and strong through our core as we do that move. It also gives us an opportunity to strengthen through the hamstrings. Okay, let's come on back up. And then we're going to work and do this on one leg, so there's some balance involved. And if you like, you could have a chair or just something that you're holding on to help you with balance. Standing on both feet as you were. Go ahead and stand on your right leg and then just lift the left foot just a little bit, like it's barely noticeable. Hip hinge, do exactly what we just did, and then come on back up. And then just stand on the other leg. You're just hovering that foot barely off the ground and then hinging at your hip crease. So a few times in place, one foot to the other. And maybe you don't come all the way to half forward fold. Maybe it's more of just like a 45-degree angle. See what's available. And then we'll rise. We'll come on back up. All right. From there, let's reach the arms up overhead. Hook your thumbs. Spread the hands wide, kind of like a butterfly. With the arms overhead, big side bend to your right, reach up and over. And as you get onto that right leg, can you lift? Can you kind of hover the left leg a little bit out there to the side? And then just bring this back into both feet. Big reach up and over, side bend to the left. Reach way, way out there to the side. And then as you get to standing on your left leg, find some balance, maybe float that other leg out there. And then we'll bring it all back in. And then we'll part the arms. All right, from here, inhale, sweep the arms up. And then folding forward, let's step down to tabletop. We'll come back into our hands and knees. And then from right here, let's bring the right foot forward. So finding a low lunge, and then just kind of coming up into that low lunge. Just bring the hands to the low back. Let that bring your awareness there, and just kind of draw down through the tailbone a little bit. Kind of engage your bum, like you use your glutes. Feel a stretch across the front of the hip. And then from right there, just sweeping the left arm up overhead, and then just circling. So a few times, just big sweeping circles, like your arm is the arm of a clock, right? Brush the ceiling, the wall, the floor, and then just reverse it, go the other way. Let's bring this down. So I'm bringing my left hand either to the floor, or remember I could prop it up onto a book. And then a little twist. I'm just going to peel open to my right side, and I'm just going to reach my right arm up. Feel the shoulders stack open. And just find the breath. All right, from here, we'll just kind of bring this hand to our knee, to our thigh. And then from here, if there's some room, you can let the hips sink forward. And we're just going to kind of rock forward and back, a little or a lot. See what's available. Maybe you get to go back and straighten that leg. Okay, let's come on back through here. Tuck the back toes under, and can you lift the knee off the ground? And then from that, you start to find your way up through standing in a high lunge. Take a moment to get steady. Let the arms help you. From there, send the arms up overhead. And then we're taking a twist to the right side. So I'm going to part my arms, look over that right shoulder in a twist. That might be a challenge, so in which case you can lower this to the knee and take that same sort of twist. Okay, let's come on back out, and then we're just going to switch. So I'm going to bring my left foot forward. I'm going to find a low lunge. I'm going to come on up. And then here, just starting with awareness to the back body. With the hands, just kind of draw down through the tailbone. Make like you want to drag that back knee forward. And then from there, now I'm going to raise my right arm. And then just big kind of sweeping circle. Slow enough that I can just take the weather and feel my shoulder. Few times, and then of course you also want to reverse it and go the other way. Notice where there's some sticky spots. Notice where things move smooth. Just creating some space. From here, let's bring this hand down, either to the floor or to a book. And now a little twist. I'm going to peel open to the left and reach up, look up. Let the breath come through. And then bring my hand to my thigh. And then from here, a little bit of movement. I'm going to rock forward and back in the hips. Okay, from here, let's tuck our back toes and see about lifting the knee. You could certainly stay right here. If it's available to you, start to rise. Explore finding your way up to high crescent lunge, reaching overhead. From here, a little twist to the left. Part the arms, look behind you. Okay, you could be doing this from the knee as well. Reaching like you're going to touch front and back of the room. And then all the way out of that. Okay, let's step back here. Tabletop. Let's move our spine, cat-cow it out. Let's kind of move in all of those directions, all the ways we moved on the yoga mat here. Okay, from there, let's take a child's pose, which is to drop the hips back towards the heels, and then just kind of ground through the head. Again, you can lift the floor to you. Use a book or a block or a blanket. Just allow everything to catch up. And then from that, let's rise. We'll come on back out through our tabletop. And then from tabletop, let's take the right leg out to the side. Okay? And then from here, I want you to look at your toes and then just kind of turn the toes up and then turn the toes in. And let this movement come all the way from the top of the leg. So my whole leg is turning in and turning out. Just exploring what's available there. And then from here, let's rise onto this one knee. Come on up. Let's take our arms out to our sides. And then just right hands to the hips, both hands to the hips. Hinge at your hip crease, a little half forward fold, and then rise, come on up. Okay, a few times exploring this. From right there, let's pause. We'll bring hands to the mat, and then here, explore this, see again just what's available to you. But I'm going to rock my hips back like I'm doing child's pose, and then I'm going to rock forward. Find just the degree of movement that's available to you. And then we're just going to bring this right on back in. And then I'm going to do this on the other side. So it's called gate pose. I'm going to take my left leg out. And then from here, I think it helps to just look at your foot, which is going to turn the leg out and then turn the leg in. And so you're going to notice your toes, you're going to notice your foot kind of turn in and turn up. Okay, from there, let's start to rise. Make your way up to standing on this one knee. Reach out through the arms and then just bring them to your hips. We're going to hinge at our hip crease, a little or a lot, and come on up. All right, from here, we'll come back down into the hands. Same way, we're just going to flow. A little movement here, rocking back to the hip and then forward. And then pausing, let's come back in through our tabletop. From here, let's tuck our toes under, and then we'll find downward facing dog. So just revisit a dog pose. Feel head below the heart. And then in that dog pose, you might take the feet a little bit wider. Can you walk your hands backwards to the feet, and then you're in a forward fold back there. From here, let's start to rise. We'll come up through to standing. Let's just reach the arms up overhead. Little twist to the right, turn the body, part the arms, look way behind you. And then send this overhead. We'll twist the other way, let everything move. And then back up overhead. Here's where we're going to fold forward. And then can you, with the hands, kind of walk your way out to plank pose or tabletop. And then from that, we're coming all the way to the floor. So finding Sphinx pose, this is where we kind of prop up into the elbows. And from here, let's check in with the shoulders. When you come to Sphinx pose though, and check in if the low back feels crunchy or, or tender in any way, you just simply take the arms more forward. That's going to take it out of the low back a little bit for you. So again, remember, you can just fine tune these things for yourself. Shoulders, okay, sink in. Feel the shoulders go up into the ears and then draw them down. And then just do that, right? So just kind of move any tension, any kind of feeling of stuck energy, lifting and lowering. And then from there, as you draw the shoulders down, let's keep them down and then just gently glance up. And then we'll lower. So coming down, bring your hands in close to your sides, kind of like if you were going to do a push-up. And then from there, just lift the chest, baby cobra. So just a little lift off, nothing real big. And then come down. And then let's hover the hands off the mat. I've lifted them just slightly. And then do cobra again. So no hands, just lifting. Can you feel the strength on the back of the body? And then just right back down. So cobra pose, we'll use the hands. The hands help kind of leverage us. We maybe lift up a little more. And then coming down, no hands, hover them. And then lifting. Let the feet press into the floor behind you. And then just coming back down. Okay, one last time where we get to use the hands, lifting up. Here, again, don't over crank into anything, but just find a good spot. Turn your head to the right, look over your shoulder. And then turn your head left and look over that shoulder. Okay, let's release. Go ahead and stack your arms out in front, rest the head. Nice big inhale. Let it all go. While we're here, let's bend the knees, draw the heels in, windshield wiper the feet, right? Let the feet fall, right, left. Maybe notice hips and low back come along for the ride. And then we'll lower the legs. From here, locust pose, one of my favorite ways to strengthen back body. Pretty accessible, okay? Arms reach back, lift the chest, also lift the legs. So just feel lifting up, all the work of the back side. And then lower, just bring your cheek to the floor. We'll do that again, locust pose, rise, rise, rise. Hover up off the floor. And then lower, bring your other cheek to the floor. And then let's come on back out here through Sphinx pose so we can come out into the elbows. Okay, from here, for the shoulders, a little something more. We're going to bring our hands out wide to our side. I'm kind of up on my fingertips. A little bit like I'm doing cobra. And then just dip your right shoulder in. Look over your left. And then unwind, come back through, and then just dip other shoulder. Okay, so a few times, just flowing through this little twist for the upper back and shoulders. And then let's release this. Okay, we'll bring the hands in. Let's push off away from the floor. Let's tuck the toes. Another opportunity to make your way from down on the ground upright to standing. Okay. As you come on up through to standing, take a moment. And then let's work with some leg swinging. So we swung the arms. We did that. Similar with the legs. Here's where, again, you might use like a chair or just door frame kind of wall to hold on to. Stand on one leg. Swing the other one forward and then back. So a little bit of letting go, right? There's like not a lot of control in this. We just want to let the momentum carry the leg. Staying balanced. Maybe play with not holding on. Okay, let's switch that out. So we'll do it on the other leg. And I'm going to do it without holding on this time. So it might be small. It might start small. But just kind of get that rhythm down. Opposite arms kind of swinging with that forward and back. And we'll slow that down, and then we'll come back in. Okay, from here, a little bit of side-to-side movement. Mentioned how it's nice to explore moving side to side since we tend to move very forward and back in life and in the world. So a wide stance with your feet. Let's start out just with bending the knees and transferring your weight and just feeling yourself kind of go side to side. And so maybe this is where the work begins, that first exploration of it. And then as this gets familiar to you, you might kind of push off and bring your feet in. Okay, I'm pushing off, I'm just exploring this one side. The hands can be however you want them to be, that feels supportive. But I'm pushing off and I'm making my way over to one side. Let's see about doing that the other way, right? So if I kind of lean over, I'm pushing off to go into this side. And I'm also using both feet, right? I'm landing myself into both feet. Let's reset that. Okay, so levels, right? As we get more and more familiar with these things, we can progress them. So as that starts to get familiar, push off and balance on one leg. Here's where, again, a wall can come in handy. So if I push off, I can just kind of have a wall right there to land myself, yes? Okay, let's explore that going the other way. Get that rhythm and just push off. See if you can kind of find that sweet spot of balance. Okay, exploring that, getting familiar with it, and getting proficient with that. Okay, now we're ready to work into the arms, switching from the legs. Here's where we can use, again, a book. It could be something really small like a pad of paper. I'm using a yoga block, right? It's our teacup drills. So I'm going to lay my hand out really nice and flat, and I'm going to put my object there, like a tray, right? And so the instruction is to simply move your arm in all of the ways while I keep that block balanced on that open hand. Okay, so there's no wrong way to do it. If you drop the object, just start again. I will add this little tidbit. If you kind of focus on keeping the arm really nice and straight, then that movement will come more from the shoulder, yeah? Let the rest of your body get involved. You can bring this down, overhead. This is one that the brain learns pretty quickly, right? We get a little bit of exposure to this and we can start to really build this. Just a nice all over body movement. We certainly want to do the other arm, which if you're like me, you might start with your dominant hand. So switching that and seeing how that other side feels. Feel like you're trying to paint the walls and the ceiling with your object. Letting the upper body get involved. Side bending, twisting. Okay, let's bring this back in. We're going to come down into the mat, okay, down into the floor. Another opportunity to get low. Find just a comfortable seat. We're going to do the same thing seated because it's a little bit different down low. So in whatever seat you've chosen, could be anything. With your block, your object in your hand, moving that all around. See how it's different down here in your seat. Allow yourself to move and be moved. And at any certain point in time, just go ahead and flip the block into the other hand. Maybe, perhaps, after a little bit, switching up your seat and finding a different seat to do this in. Maybe moving the legs around. Okay, let's set that aside. Take a moment for the arms, and then we'll get a little stretch into the legs here. So I'd like to have you bring just your right foot in, and this knee is out to the side, and then my left leg is long out, okay? And then I'm just gonna land my hand maybe at my shin, you know, if my big toe's there, I can scoop that up, and then just big sweep open, broad across the chest, long through the crown of the head. And then from there, let's bring the right hand to the floor a little bit behind, and then push the floor away and then lift up, get a little stretch through the front side. And then we'll bring this down. Let's switch out the legs. I'm going to bring my other foot in and then just reaching out through the leg. Okay. From there, again, just slide the hand down, let it land somewhere reasonable, and then just sweep open. Just a long line from hand to other hand. And then from there, I'm going to bring my hand down to the floor a little bit behind me, and then push away. See about lifting off. Okay, we'll bring this back in. Let's go ahead, we'll bring both feet in together. So a little butterfly shape, shift around so you're tall in your sit bones. And then just take this forward, right, just a little lean towards the feet. All right, let's rise. We'll bring this on up, and then we'll work into pinwheel pose for the hips. This is the one where we have one leg kind of forward, and then the other leg is bent kind of out to the side, so like a zigzag pinwheel shape, right? Let's take this out to the side. I'm going to lean way out into my right elbow and arm, and then just feels really nice. Sweep that arm overhead. Nice big side body stretch. As you're reaching over, still feel anchored in your seat. And then we'll push back up into our seat here. Okay. From here, see if you can bring your hands kind of to your hips. We're going to lean a little bit forward and then just push right back up to center. Okay, so a few times that'll move, little rocking forward and back. Feel that front leg almost kind of push the floor, kind of rebound you back upright. Okay, as you lean forward this time, you can bring the hands out in front of you. If you want, you can get to stay here just a few breaths in that passive stretch. And then we're going to rise. We're going to bring this back up. From here, let's see about sweeping the legs out through boat pose, right, where the legs kind of hover. And then maybe without the hands, can you sneak the legs into the other side? Okay, use the hands if you need to use the hands. All right, get situated. Each side can feel a little different. But take that way out and just lean out, big side stretch. Feel that extend all the way through the fingertips. And then we'll push back up into our seat. Same thing here, hands kind of out of the way at the hips. Little lean forward, like your nose is coming a little closer towards the floor. And then right back up to center. So letting that move forward and back. And then as you come forward this time, go ahead and bring your elbows out there in front. If you want, you can lean over into it. You could alternatively decide to stay more upright. If this position on its own is like plenty of work, you could just reside right here for a few breaths. From where you're at, let's start to release out of this. And then again, boat pose. So we're just going to float the legs, kind of come out in front of us. And then let's plant the feet. We'll take another reverse tabletop. So the hands have come behind again. But this time, before we lift, another opportunity to cat-cow. So we kind of shrug or kind of like round into the shoulders, drop the chest, and then kind of lift the chest, kind of, yeah, few times through that. Lifting and lowering the chest or the ribs. See what kind of movement we can create right there. And then as you lift back up, here's reverse tabletop, drive the floor away, rise. If it's comfortable, you can drop the head, look behind you. And then all the way back down into our seat. Okay. Another time here to floss through the hips. This is a good one. The hands are behind us, and then we just dip the knees one at a time. The emphasis being on the inside. And then from that, we'll bring the feet in, Fold it forward with the hands driving that right side, left side. Let's come back. We'll lean back, just switch the feet. You could use the hands back there. Other foot in front, fold it forward, same thing, a little drive, side to side. And we'll rise, come on up. An opportunity to stand up from the floor. See about how you might get up, maybe in a different way. Could you use the hands a little less? There's no wrong way to do it. Start to find your way up through the standing. Once you get there, we're going to use a prop again. So again, like a block or a book, something you can roll up and use. You're going to kind of hug that close to the chest. Just kind of put your hands in front of it, okay? From the back of your practice space or your yoga mat, take one step forward and then just turn to the right. And then we'll step forward on the other foot, turn to the left. Little twist from your center. Okay, we're going to do that again. Step forward and then turn. Let's take this backwards. So an opportunity to step behind you, turn to the left, and then stepping back, turn to the right. Okay, coming back in. So here's now where we'll take it up a notch. We're just going to take the block out in front of us. Arms are long. I'm going to step forward with my right foot, right? So I'm kind of just on the ball of my left foot behind me, and then I'm just going to rotate to the right. Little balance, bring it back in. And then I'm going to step forward through my left foot. And then I'm going to rotate left. And then untwist. Okay, I ran into a plant. But we can take this forward a little bit more, right? So just each time taking a step to twist. Taking a step to twist. And then let's take that back. So I'm going to step back and twist. And then stepping back to twist. So staying anchored in the feet as I rotate through the upper body. I mean, you could do this standing with both feet together, right? To also get a feel for that movement, but with the block out in front of you. And just kind of feel that you're moving and being supported from your center, right? Front, sides, and back of core. So exploring that either standing still or, as I've added it here, taking a step forward with it. Okay, all right, we can set our block down, prop down. Landing into the feet here, let's sync back up with our movement and our breathing. On an inhale, let's reach our arms up. And then exhale, fold it forward. Lengthen there, halfway lift. Exhaling to fold, and then let's rise, sweep the arms, come up, and then just mountain pose, tallest version of you. Let's do that one more time. Big inhale, reach up, arms overhead, exhale, fold in half, lengthening, halfway lift, exhale, fold, and on a breath rise, we'll reach the arms up overhead, and then just back to standing. Okay, from here, we're going to make our way down all the way down into our seats. So coming down, we'll find just a couple more kind of just seated postures. As we come down, have your kind of rolled up blanket or book nearby. We'll come down into our back body and just give the knees a good squeeze. Feel the earth have your back. Little shift and sway side to side. Feel the imprint of your shoulder blades in your spine, the back of the head. And then from here, can you send legs and arms a little bit up into the air and then slow circle through your wrists and ankles. Make those as thorough and complete as circles as possible, so no rush. And then here, we'll draw the right knee in and go ahead and send the left leg down the mat. Feel the hands help pull that knee to you. And then a little bit, just kind of lift the head the shoulders round in like you're peeking towards your bottom foot. And then just coming back here to the mat. Okay. Holding that right knee with your right hand. Send the left arm overhead. And then just a little bit reach through your arm and through your leg down below. Okay. Let's lower the left arm. You can take it out to your side if you like here, but just a few times. You're going to open and close this right knee. So let your hand kind of guide that. Let that hand support. Open and close. And then we'll come across the body for a twist. So that big wringing out twist here, right? Just cross the body, get a stretch. And then back through center. So we'll draw the knees in. Let's hug the left knee. And then we'll send the right leg down the mat. I'm going to lift my head and shoulders, rounding in, knee towards nose, and then right back here into the mat. Okay, I'm going to send my right arm overhead for that long line of energy from my hand all the way down to my foot. And then I'm just going to take this arm out to the side for some anchor, and then I'm going to use my left hand to help kind of guide, open and close through the hip. No rush. If you find something good, you can pause in it. We're coming across the body eventually when you're ready for a twist, right? I'm going to let my knee, just the weight of that, kind of come across and get that big twist through the spine. And then eventually I will also come back into the mat here. Let's draw the knees in, lifting the head and the shoulders, rounding in, tiniest version of yourself. And then let's go ahead and plant the feet onto the mat. Take a moment. And then just that hip tilt, right? Pelvic tilt, hands at the hips. This is where we kind of flatten the low back into the floor and then peel the low back off the floor, right? Tilting the pelvis forward and back. Nice little reset for our low back region. Lots of core control through the very floor of our core. And then let's pause, just kind of somewhere in the middle of that, neutral. Firm into your feet, your footprints. And then rise and come on up into bridge pose, right? Lifting the hips. Toes press into the mat as much as the heels. Let's interlace our hands and then just turn the palms, stretch the arms right up towards the ceiling. And then still in bridge, can you take the arms overhead? And then we'll lower the body. And then let's lower the arms. Let's do that one more time. So we're going to find bridge pose, lift the hips, rise, rise, rise. Feel the knees hug a little bit towards center. We'll interlace our hands, turn the palms up, take them overhead. And then lowering the body, you can lower the arms. Take a moment. From here, let's find happy baby pose, exactly how that sounds, right? So you may catch the soles of the feet here, or you could also catch behind the creases of the knees, right? But just kind of a deep bend to the knees, the legs wide. And then there, just a little shift and drift. Again, I'm just massaging spine, back body into the floor, side to side. And then I'm going to come back in and let the knees draw in. Then here's where I'm going to spend a few moments with the legs overhead. This could simply be reclined legs up, okay, where I take my arms out to my side. But this is also really nice with just a little bit of lift for the pelvis. So again, here's where your blanket, your book, just something rolled up right under the low back. I'm just kind of lift it up, put my bum on that, and then my legs get this little prop. Legs get to be above the head and the heart and the lungs. Just kind of smooth out your breathing, reconnect. Eventually there, we'll bend the knees, letting the knees fall into you. Feels nice if, you're elevated on a little prop. But eventually you're going to let the feet find the floor, and if you're on something, just coming back into the mat. From here, let's draw the knees in. Little rock roll. Can you kind of create this momentum where you're kind of rocking up and down your spine? And then rolling right on over. We're going to take just one final downward facing dog, sending the hips high, pedal the legs. And then in dog pose, tabletop pose. We'll come to the knees. In tabletop, let's find bird dog pose. I'm going to send my right leg behind me and my left arm in front. Okay, my toes could stay tapping down for extra support, or start to lift that leg. Counterbalance between your sides. Draw everything in, round in, hug the knee, and then reaching back out. See here if you can take that out to your side, floating the arm and the leg out to the right and to the left. Little core challenge. Coming back through. Let's draw this in one more time, rounding in, and then reaching out. Few breaths here, extra, or the option to see about taking that out to the side. Okay, we'll bring this back in. Switching sides, bird dog pose. My left leg goes back, and now my right arm out. From here, maybe you lift the leg, and then just rounding in. Reaching back out, few extra breaths, or the option to explore taking that out to your side. You could also adopt the toes there for a little balance, and then way out long. Do this again. Draw everything in, rounding in, reaching out. Pause here, or explore taking that to your side. It'll be a little bit challenging, taking the limbs away from your center, and then back out. Okay, right back in. From there, we take it all the way through to our seats. We're going to find one final posture. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together, reclined butterfly pose. Press down into the edges of your feet. Lift the hips and rise, kind of like you're doing bridge pose. Okay? And maybe your bum doesn't lift very much. That's okay, but do you feel like a little bit lighter? Do you feel your body kind of get a little less weighted into the floor? And then release that effort. And then explore doing that again. If you push down into your feet, do you feel your body, do you feel your bum kind of almost lift off the floor? And then just softening back down. Let's send the legs down the mat. Reach the arms overhead, full body stretch into every cell. Wiggle fingers, toes. And draw everything back in. And then coming on back up into your seat, ready for your day. Have the best day ever. Peace.